We gotta stand in the gap for our Lord.
This morning we have not only pastors and mission leaders, we also have lecturers from the Singapore Bible College. It's Kelvin Tan and Dr. Phil Marshall. They are lecturers with the SBC missions program, and we have some students right from the missions course on urban missions. They have brought their classroom out right here in the heart of the city this morning. Right, so let's give them a round of welcome. In your class, so welcome. We are also very glad that Mr. Philip Cheng, who is the Regional Director for the Lausanne Movement, is with us this morning. He comes all the way from KL last night. Right? Philip, would you like to stand? So as you know, at Singapore Centre for Global Missions, we are an agency that tries to catalyze the national missions movement here in Singapore. And we are pretty broad in scope, and we want to go deeper also in some of the selected issues. Over the last 3 years, the Singapore Centre for Global Missions has been focusing on 3 key areas, right, of missions that we feel needs a lot more engagement by the churches and the agencies. The first is area of what we call missional business, right, or some of you know it as business as missions. Right, so Philip has brought some brochures on business as mission. He's a practitioner, right, a former investment banker who is now using business as missions, especially to engage in the Middle East. And so for those of you who are interested in working with the Muslims, you can talk to him more later. We are also looking at creation care, because creation care is a very important part. It's linked to the environmental and ecological challenges that we have, climate change, and how does the church respond? So we've been involved in this in promoting as well. In fact, I've just come back last night from Inner Mongolia, where we are involved with Singapore's ITE, formerly the Institute of Technical Education, where we'll be bringing over 65 students. And as you know, again, most of them are from the Malay background, Malay community background. So it's a good way to engage them in creation care, right, as well as helping them to see that Christians are involved in caring for God's earth. And the third area is urban missions, especially in terms of urban migrant missions. So this is one area that is the context for this morning's talk, because we want to constantly invite churches to think about not only reaching out to the urban poor, which is one of the biggest challenges facing the world right now in terms of the global urbanization that's happening. In the next 15 years, we will see 1 billion people moving from the rural areas of Asia into Asia's mega cities. And many of them will end up in the slums and squatters. So I think SBC and Dr. Kelvin Tan is leading a course, right, on missions, related to urban missions. And we are very happy that last month we hosted the Global Diaspora Missiology Consultation. And guess what? Hot from the press, the compendium has just been released and sitting right. We've just brought a few copies and sitting at a table. So for those of you who are interested, you can get a copy for your church. And for the seminaries, we hope that it will be a textbook, right, for the urban missions course to encourage Christians to think about how to reach those who are scattered, those who are living away from home, away from the place of origin. Right, so how do we do that? In the city, as we are right now, right in St. Andrew's Cathedral, there is a heartbeat, right, of the urban pulse of the city. A lot of people try to shy away from the city. We call it the urban flight. Right? You want to go to the outskirts, but for those of us like myself who enjoy, the hustle and bustle of the city, I think that's where we can actually engage and contribute actively to shaping the urban culture. And that's the context of this morning's talk. We want to invite people who are practitioners, who are people who are right there in the heart of the city, may not be necessarily wearing a collar as a clergy or a badge as a missionary, but they are God's people out there creating culture in the cities. Right, so join me in welcoming Kelvin. I think I'll give him to share more about himself, and in the introduction you can see that he's been a very prolific musician, songwriter, as well as educator in the area of arts. I remember a comment that our speaker made once, because I was sharing about our project in Inner Mongolia about planting trees in the wilderness. So I remember Kelvin made a comment and said that, we are in the same line. He's also trying to do something in the wilderness, a cultural wilderness. So we welcome him. Let's put our hands to welcome Kelvin.
There's supposed to be lyrics on the board for the. Yeah. Oh, it's over there. Right? Okay, thanks. Okay. 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 I'm kind of like a casual kind of person, so forgive me. Yeah. Splendor. You all know this song?
Yes.
Okay, let's go, man. Okay, wait, huh? G. The splendor of the King.
Jesus Christ's name we pray. Okay. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Na 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 na, yeah. If it wasn't for the strength that I had, for the power of the word and the care, I'd have nothing to hold on to. I'll be needlessly searching. There is something that comes out of strife that you put down to be part of the night. I can't say that I should have learned if I didn't follow the signs. When you spend your whole life thinking it's all gonna come down now, when every path you took led you to the end, and the stars fell out of the universe and painted your world so gray, you'll understand why I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for Yahweh. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Do 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 do, yeah, alright. Do 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 now, oh, oh, oh. I was on the road that led to space, and the writing was dying away. The songs had no feelings of joy, they were children of starvation. I was lying to my bed of woe, saying things that were out of control. I came close to the edge of deadly infinity. No one could save me. When you spend your whole life thinking it's all gonna come down now, when every path you took led you to the end, yeah, yeah, yeah. And the stars fell out of the universe and painted your world so gray, you'll understand why I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for Yahweh. Yeah, yeah, if it wasn't for His truth, if it wasn't for the Holy One, if it wasn't for the way, if it wasn't for Yahweh, it wasn't for the strength of the Holy One. Oh yeah, 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 yeah. It wasn't for the truth, it wasn't for the power, it wasn't for the way. For Yahweh, it wasn't for the light, it wasn't for the Lord. Yeah. Hot dog. Oh, but I got a name, yeah. I'm gonna stand in the gap. I'm gonna stand in the gap. I'm gonna stand in the gap for my Lord. I'm gonna stand in the gap, yeah. I'm gonna stand in the gap. I'm gonna stand in the gap for my Lord. Ezekiel was the prophet who interceded for man by praying for the people in a struggling weary land. No one else was willing to understand. When Jerusalem was suffering and people were losing faith, God called on Ezekiel to stand in the gap, to set the people free by prayer. We gotta stand in the gap. We've gotta stand in the gap. We gotta stand in the gap for our Lord. Amen. We gotta stand in the gap. We gotta stand in the gap for our Lord. We gotta stand in the gap. We gotta stand in the gap for our. We gotta stand in the gap for our Lord. SCGM people, stand in the gap. SCGM people, stand in the gap. You gotta stand in the gap for our Lord. Oh yeah, SCGM people, stand in the gap. Yeah, SCGM people, stand in the gap. You're gonna stand in the gap for our Lord. Oh, people know they're saying we need to understand the world and all its complexities and intercede for man. By knowledge, truth, and wisdom, by praying for the land. We gotta stand, we gotta stand. We gotta stand in the gap. Woo! We gotta stand in the gap. We gotta stand in the gap for our Lord. We gotta stand in the gap. Yeah, we gotta stand in the gap. We gotta stand in the gap for our Lord. Yeah, we gotta stand in the gap for our Lord. We gotta stand in the gap for our Lord. Amen. I wrote this song especially for the SCGM talk today. So it'll be a lot easier for me to share. I'm not a theologian, I'm not an expert in anything. I'm just somebody who tries to live his life as meaningfully as possible. And the reason why I wrote this song today, besides to encourage all you guys to stand in the gap, is also that Lawrence and I were schoolmates in NUS, and I don't really remember 30 years ago, Lawrence had challenged me the same thing that I'm running the song, so this is exactly why. You know, the whole idea that Ezekiel was a prophet, you know, that stood in the gap and interceded for men in time of Jerusalem suffering. So I always found that this kind of song form is very interesting. But I want to talk a lot about this because it's very relevant to us. Well, what I did here was actually a very blues, gospel kind of feeling. And a lot of times we enjoy a lot of rock and roll music and all that, but we don't understand the roots. And we don't understand that this kind of music is actually born from a lot of suffering. As you all know, that a lot of this music came from the Africans, the Ghanaians, and the Nigerians who was captured as slaves in America and forced to work in the fields. And they were, if you all watch 12 Years a Slave, you will see the extent of the evil that was involved. Ironically, by Christian slave landowners. And you know the whole Civil War in America is a result of all this. The whole idea of New York side, the East side being anti-slavery, and you know, and the South pro. So you know, there's this fight for many years that led to the freeing of the slaves. But yet again, up to today, the whole idea of freeing is still not that clear, as you can tell nowadays when Mr. Trump makes all these very bigoted statements. Right? You can see that racism is still very right, but that's human nature. I think we have racists in Singapore as much. But the point I'm just trying to say here is that a lot of times when we make judgments on music, when we listen to rap, and we listen to rock and roll, we tend to, as Christians, make judgments like there's a lot of bad words, there's a lot of crazy debauchery lifestyles and all. But we fail to realize, and I'd like to share this with you, that the roots of all this great music came from God. Whitney Houston once said that she was very stunned by the fact that every time she became a pop singer, the church people used to condemn her and say, "You're Christian, why are you doing this secular music?" And Winnie Houston, God bless her soul, said, "It's only one music, it's God's music. The roots of everything came from God. It went a different way, but it came from God." So the roots of all the music you hear today comes from God actually, originally. It just went other places. And I'll say that about the media too. The media is actually something that came from good intentions. You know, I'll share about that later. But I wanted to talk about this, in the sense that these music forms that I'm playing for you is very simple GCD, but it has very vital connections to the world today. And whether you want to be connected to it or not, it's there, right? Whether you want to be connected to media, to culture, it's all there. And I wanted to share that in this song to let you know that this music is part of a whole culture, a whole consciousness that we will be losing out a lot of, we miss out as Christians. Right? I've been teaching in the La Salle College of the Arts for the past 14 years maybe, and I've taught a whole host of courses, fine art theory, media art, interactive art, video art, all kinds of art, and arts management, things like that. And now I'm teaching in a film school. And in a film school right now, we start Putnam School of Film, named after the producer, David Putnam. There's only one person I can single out who is not only a Christian, but who wants to do something in the Christian field with film. I'm a Methodist myself, by the way. I was born and brought up Methodist, and he's a fellow Methodist, but he's the only one. There seems to be the harvest of plenty, but the workers of few. There are not many people that's going to the media field to understand, to try to do something for God over there. And for a long time, I wondered why. Okay, so I want to share with you something that's quite relevant. It's a very simple thing. It's just the definition of the word culture. All right. The ideas, customs, and social behavior of a particular people or society is easy, right? The ideas, customs, and social behavior of a particular people or society. And some of us like to think of it as just countries. But for me, media culture is like a country. Art is like a country. It's all cultural networks in there that if we don't understand the roots for it or of it, we can't minister in that field if we don't understand the deeper meanings of it. Okay. I also like to talk about a lot of standing again. It's taken from Ezekiel 22:30. Right? Ezekiel, God was looking for men to come and intercede. A prophet was an ordinary person to intercede for the country that's suffering, Jerusalem. And he couldn't find a single person, and finally he said, "God, let me be the one." But look at this commentary for 22:30. First of all, I'll read the verse. "I looked for a man among them who would build up a wall and stand before me in the gap on behalf of the land, so I would not have to destroy it, but I found none." Alright, that's Ezekiel 22:30. And let me read the commentary, which is interesting for me. It's from CBN. "Although this verse deals with the sins of Jerusalem, I believe we have permission to apply it directly to our lives. This is a very sad verse because Jerusalem was in a sad and horrible state, and God was saying through the prophet Ezekiel that he was searching for someone who would intercede for Jerusalem and do what was necessary for her salvation. When he looked, he found no one who would intercede for the nation and the city." Okay? Let me read another commentary which is even more important. "You would think God is looking for someone who is a PhD or a philosopher or a Nobel Prize laureate or a great humanitarian or one who is the head of the university, a government or a charity. God is not looking for such celebrities. He's looking for a man. This definition is unexceptional, common, and mundane as in just a man. But these two words, a man, should fill us with excitement because you and I could be that one. The walls were the city's defenses, but these walls were broken down and weakened. They were a danger and not security. The man that the Lord sought then seeks now is one who built up the walls to protect and defend the people of God's affections. We as a church will need a man to build up the walls of prayer around our communities." What does it mean to stand in the gap? This is powerful. In ancient warfare, it meant to fill in part of the defenses with your own self, thereby becoming a wall against disaster. There is a gap today between lost humanity and God's wrath. Think about it. There's a gap today between God's humanity, right? And lost humanity and God's wrath. We need one who stands before God in the priestly functions of intercession. Finally, our world is looking for solutions through movements, governments, institutions, and even guns. But God is looking and waiting for one to stand in the gap between us and his judgment. In the ancient time of Ezekiel, he found none. May it not be the case today. May you and I be such people that God seeks to stand before him in prayer for those around us. Okay.
Okay, the Reverend Dr. Gordon Wong was one of my favorite speakers. Had an incredible sermon on Palm Sunday. And he shared this with us. He shared this whole idea of Palm Sunday. He said that Palm Sunday wasn't really about palms. If you look at the Bible, in the Synoptic Gospels and all that, you find that palms are not really that mentioned. Actually, the donkey is more mentioned. So he said it actually should be Donkey Sunday. Believe it or not. Go and ask Reverend Dr. Gordon Wong. Donkey Sunday, because in all the testaments, in all the books, Christ came on a donkey. It was specified. But more importantly, this is what Reverend Gordon Wong said. He said, this is quoting from Matthew 21, 1 to 11. He said, it was the Passover. And Christ did the most rebellious thing. He said, came on a donkey, he ran into the city to show everybody his presence, his entrance. But he used the donkey. He didn't use any animal as a donkey, really, because donkeys are humble animal. But the whole important thing for me was that from that act of, he angered a lot of the Judaizers. He angered a lot of the Pharisees. Because God wanted to show his stand against people. This is Reverend Dr. Gordon Wong's quote, which I agree. And also to show that he's standing in the gap. See, so to me, this humbled me greatly while I was preparing for this. What does it mean to stand in the gap for us? Well, let me share you a bit about my life. Lord Hong Hoi was my ex-JJC classmate there. He came today, thank you, Lord. And he can tell you what kind of person I was back then. And I never knew that this is the path I was going to take. I mean, I was playing music there during college, but I never thought that I was going to take this strange path out. And as a result, I had a lot of discriminations from, of all people, my church people. When I wanted to study philosophy, my Sunday school superintendent said, oh, you know, if you study more philosophy, you become an atheist, which obviously I'm not. And they encouraged this, I don't want to use those cheap production books about how the devil is here and there, and rock and roll is bad, and backmasking Led Zeppelin, things like that. They said, oh, you know, you shouldn't listen to rock and roll music because it's bad for you, you know, because it will drive you away from the world. But then, you know, the thing about it all is that this is exactly what we're talking about, you see. I mean, if we are going to choose a place that we want to be with, God asks us to branch out into the world. So what do we do? How do we get more believers there? How do we minister that we stay stuck in our world? And also, I want to say this to you so that me being somebody who's quite clued into what's going on in the media world, but in the cultural world, there are a lot of signs of God working in the world, but we can't see it until we get out there and see it. So some of us feel this calling to do this. In the 1990s, I played in a rock and roll band called the Oddfellas. I don't know whether any of you have heard of it. We were playing for a long time, had albums, all this and that. But through that experience, I managed to see the reality of the youth in Singapore, right? And we are totally dead, clean-cut, decent people in the band, you know. 2 or 3 of us are Christians, and we just wanted to play rock and roll. We wanted to see what the culture was about. We're still playing now. We did the Sing 50 last year, 46,000 people in the National Stadium, the Sports Hub. So, but we were one of the few people there who are actually still doing what we're doing. So the point I'm just trying to say here is that who will be out there to understand all this? Because in a sense, by understanding the culture, you're also understanding the youth. And so if you don't understand the youth, who's going to bring them in? And a lot of us have children here. I myself am not married and don't have children, but there are a lot of us have children here. And if we lose touch with the social media and all that, we lose touch with our children. There's no doubt about it. I've been teaching youth. Some of my students are already married, 3 kids or something, 36, 37 years old. And now I'm bringing in new students here, which are 19, 20 years old. And you see the way they think culturally is all very different. And you can't blame them for doing that because things are different. You can't compare how it used to be then and it used to be now. Things are just very different. But I want to show you an example of how God is working in the so-called secular world. I like to look at them as all God's world, so I don't look at it secular, not secular. But I want to show you with this gift I'm going to give you. Okay, could you just pass this, please? It's my gift to you all. Okay, everybody needs a copy because there's a lot of words and it's going to be very fast when I read it. Okay? But I think it's a very clear case of how pop culture is working in the world today. And ironic and very interestingly for God. Okay. If you all have a copy, sorry, I don't know whether I said enough for everyone, but if you all don't have, please share. Sorry about it. Yeah, photo stamping costs a lot of money nowadays. Yeah, and I just zap as much as my wallet will allow. But it's important to have this because I want you to experience with me, right? One of the most important phenomena right now in pop culture. Okay, I took very poor reading on Kendrick Lamar. He's an incredible rap artist. But I want to show this side of him which gives you which hits my point home about culture and how it can be used for God's glory. And forgive the slight little activities here and there because it's part of the culture, it's part of the black culture. How much a dollar costs? How much a dollar costs? The question is detrimental, paralyzing my thoughts. Parasites my stomach keep me with a gut feeling, y'all. Gut see how I chill in once a party's luxury car, hopping out feeling big as Matumbo, tweeting on the pump 631 cents, call me Dumbo. 20 years ago, can't forget, now I can land on my ear or two and how the stackers vesicles. Tenfold a liberal concept of what men would do, 20 or 60 didn't hear me. Indigenous African only spoke Zulu. My African American tongue was slurry. Walked out of a gas station. A homeless man with a semi-tan complexion asked me for 10 rand, stressing about dry land, deep water, puddle, blue skies like my old pan. A piece of crap that can wear that out. I knew he was smoking. He begged and pleaded, asked me to feed him twice. I didn't believe it. I told him to beat it, contributing money just for his pipe. I couldn't see it. He said, my son, temptation is one thing that I've defeated. Listen to me, I want a single bill from you. Nothing less, nothing more. I told him I ain't had it and closed my door. Tell me how me how much a dollar costs. It's more to feed your mind, water, sun, and love. The one you love, all you need, the air you breathe. He's staring at me in disbelief. My temper is building. He's staring at me and grabbed my key. He's staring at me. I started the car, then I tried to leave. And something told me to keep it up until I could see the reason why he was mad at a stranger, like I was supposed to save him, like I'm the reason he's homeless and asking me for a favor. He's staring at me, his eyes follow me with no laser. He's staring at me, I know this is stare is contagious, because I'm staring at him, feeling some kind of disrespect. Okay? If I could throw a bag at him and he'll be aiming at his neck. I never understood anyone begging for goods, asking for handouts, thinking if you could. And this particular person just had it down pat, staring at me for the longest time until he finally asked, have you ever opened up Exodus 14? A humble man is all that you ever need. Tell me how much a dollar costs. Guilt tripping and feeling resentment. I never met a transient that demanded attention. It got me frustrated, indecisive, and power tripping. Subtle emotions got me looking at the universe different. I should distance myself, I should keep it relentless. My selfishness got me here, what the fuck I'm kidding. So I'm not telling you like I told the last bum. Crumbs and pennies are your minds. And I recognize this type of panhandling all the time. I got better judgment, I know what niggas has to keep in mind. When I was struggling, I didn't compromise, now I comprehend. I smell red bars of medicine wrecking from your skin. Moonshine and gin, nigga, you're bad, and your words ain't flattering. I'm imagining Denzel but looking at O'Neal, cause I'm just accused of giving is mediocre. The jig is up, I see you from a mile, from looking, losing focus. And I'm insensitive and I lack empathy. He looked at me and said, your potential is bittersweet. I looked at him and said, every nickel is mine to keep. He looked at me and said, know the truth, it will set you free. You're looking at the Messiah, the Son of Jehovah, the higher power, the quiet that spoke the word, the Holy Spirit, the nerve of Nazareth. And I'll tell you just how much a dollar costs. The price of having a spot in heaven, embrace your loss. I am God. I wash my hands, I say my grace. What more do you want from me? Tears of a clown. Guess I'm not all it's meant to be. Shades of grey will never change if I condone. Turn this place, help me change. So right my wrongs. Okay, for me, this is incredibly powerful stuff. But I'd like to talk a bit more to make it even more incredibly powerful. This is President Obama's favorite song of 2015. It comes with great recommendation. And the artist is actually Kendrick Lamar. Kendrick Lamar just won 4 or 5 Grammy Awards for his latest album called Pink a Butterfly, and this is a track from it. And the story goes that he was playing in South Johannesburg to discover his roots as a black person. And he met a guy who wanted money from him, who was obviously a drug addict. And he said no. He kept saying no. And he wrote this song because he envisioned that guy who was asking for his money was actually Jesus. And finally, Jesus confronted him. All I asked is for $1, and you didn't give it to me. So you pay that with your life in the kingdom of God. Right? So that was the whole power of what he was trying to do in this song. He's trying to show that we are not worthy and that we should be more giving of what we have. We should help the world. But look at the way he's creating it. Well, Kendrick Lamar was born and bred in Compton. right? And being a rap fan myself, Compton is like a mecca for rap music because it was the home of the great niggas with attitude and NWA. Now you must remember that because of slavery and because of the politics in America, there are a lot of very deprived and homeless people living in Singapore, in America right now. They're very poor, don't have a chance of education. So rap music is actually a sum total of the reality of the situation in America. And why is rap so relevant to us here sometimes, like myself being a fan? Very simple, because it depicts a reality that I can connect to. I can see reality. I may not have expletives in my songs, I may not live the lifestyle, I may not take drugs and all that. But I connect to the suffering. I connect to what the people go through, because we have our personal struggles in Singapore. But the point I'm just trying to say is that art, when done properly, becomes a very powerful vehicle. It becomes a very powerful vehicle in speaking about God's truth. And for me, what Lamar is doing in this song is powerful because it's reaching out to millions of people. And he has gone out personally to say that he's a Christian, that he believes. And he talked about his faith in some of his songs. And we're very quick to judge it, to say, oh, you know, there's so many expletives, there's so many drugs and that kind of thing. But you must remember, like what I just said about culture, it's part of where they come from. It's how they talk. It's how they talk, you know. And it's just the way they live. It's a different lifestyle. But we cannot begrudge people of their beliefs and their faith by judging them, you know, just because we think we know better. Well, you know, when I was growing up in school and all that, I had the same discrimination. In fact, even in church, I get it right now. People look at you differently and say, you know, he dyed his hair, you know. Or he must be quite a loose-living guy. He must go to parties all the time, many girlfriends, you know. Lawyers can be the first to tell me that. And that kind of thing. But you see, that's the thing, we perceive things in a different way. So my point here is that, how do you, and in a sense, we start to judge our youth too. You know, we start to judge our youth, thinking that we know what's best for them. I can tell you now, because of social media, because of what's going on in social media, I think it's a lot harder for us to understand the youth now more than it has ever been. Because trends change, cultures change, words change, clothes change. Right now, it's all about everything. You know, when I'm teaching in art college nowadays, you just can't know film anymore. You just can't know a certain aspect anymore. You got to know all kinds of art. And I can tell you something, not only just all kinds of art, you got to know politics, you got to understand economics, you got to understand science. Because right now, as we speak, right, there are thousands of people in America right now making art out of science. They're using agricultural material, biodata stuff to turn into art forms. The world is becoming more and more complex and more expanding. And I think right now for us as Christians to make a difference, we have to be relevant. We have to be relevant, we have to step up. And we have to read more and understand more. That means we have to be more open to ideas. You know, more open to things around us. And I think to me this is something that we really need to do. And we need to be also willing to go out to the different fields to minister in that way. And you don't have to minister by preaching the good word, but you can minister by just being yourself, just living by a certain example. So this is what I try to do in LaSalle. I try to live my life, try to make a difference to students by trying to helping them and all that. But at the same time, trying to understand the culture they're coming from, because that understanding of culture goes a very long way of enabling them to maybe ask questions like, okay, what is your belief in? What do you believe in? Why do you believe in things that you do? And nowadays the questions are harder to answer because now they use atheism, you know, the new atheism is coming in now. Your Professor Richard Dawkins and your, you know, Sam Harris and all that. It's a lot harder now. Science is coming in now a lot harder. You know, there's a lot of other ideas coming in, and you know, right now this whole idea of even the sense of self is even more complex now because now in our handphones we have this embodied selves in there, you know, and you know, people no longer need relationships anymore because they have their girlfriend on the internet. You know, you all know that is happening in Japan and maybe in Singapore too. So I don't need relationships, I don't need marriage because my girlfriend is this icon on my app. So things are very different now, the way we perceive humanity, the way we perceive self, the way we perceive the other. So to me, the challenge here is how do you understand that culture to a point where they are able to be comfortable with you and they are able to share with you certain things. And to me, that's when I think to a certain extent ministering can happen. Okay. So I think right now a few things. Pastor Gabriel Yu shared, my pastor in Apong Kapong Methodist Church, just in case you want to know, shared in Ephesians 11 to 13, this whole idea that Paul wanted to set up a temple for the Gentiles, and he had so much problems from the Pharisees. And then he went on to talk about how back in those days, they had separate courts to discriminate separate people. So you have a courts for the Gentiles, you have the courts for the women, you have the courts for the Pharisees, and you have the courts for different people. You even have courts for the prostitutes and that kind of thing. So I'm wondering whether that's still true today. Because the way things are going right now, it seems that we're separating ourselves from being Christians, and then from being the secular people, and then from being this and that. So I think this is something that is very important to think, because I feel that it's such a simple rule like that Christ came down to love us all, and he gave us one commandment of love. But it's very hard to do that when we are divided into all these things. So I feel that it's a very challenging thing, and I think sometimes social media and culture today makes it even more difficult. When I was in university, I studied Marshall McLuhan. If any of you have heard of him, he wrote this great book called The Mechanical Bride, and he also, after he died, he published a whole book of his essays called On Media. And his most famous line is, "The media is the message." Right now, people look at God and they look at truth from what is being written in social network. It's pretty amazing that he wrote this in the 1960s. But the beautiful thing about Marshall McLuhan was that he was a very devout Catholic. And he felt this need to write about what was going to happen in the world next time. He was the one who coined the whole idea of the global village, of how everybody would try. But he didn't necessarily look at it as a good thing. He didn't necessarily look at it as a bad thing too. But he looked at it as an inevitability. That one day we'll all come to this global village, which is a good thing in a way because it unites people together. But it's also a bad thing because it divides people. I saw a Facebook post about how badly, savagely beaten up verbally Madam Hillary Clinton was by her nomination. And at the same time, I've seen students who shared with me about how they were cyber-bullied all their lives when they were 14, 15 years old, because there was some boy incident, he started a cyber-bully her and she nearly got suicidal. There are a few girls who told me the same story. So this is the other part. If we don't understand those things, we don't understand the reality of what's going on here, it's very hard for us to really be effective in the way we communicate to the youth. I guess the one way I'm trying to say here is that we cannot look at the youth as a youth and us as us. We cannot look at them as kids and us as youth, like us as older people who know better. But at the same time, we cannot sometimes look at gospel and look at punk and look at R&B as different. As I said before, it's in a way the roots are all God's music. I think what's important for us is to think about what the culture is saying. What is it trying to say, and why do people latch on to that culture? And to think about it and ask ourselves, how can we best serve that culture as Christians? To understand things. I guess the point I'm just trying to say is that depth. We need to understand people, different cultures. See, I wouldn't be able to share all this with you if I didn't spend the past month slogging over this, doing research, finding out things. As you know, it's a plethora of different ideas here, right? I wouldn't be able to share this with you, then you wouldn't really know what I mean to write songs and all that. So this whole idea is revolved around being able to understand different kind of cultures, understand different kinds of ideas, and connecting them together and asking yourself, where is God in all of this? Where is God in all of this? That to me is most vital, and God is everywhere. When I was a university student, I read this great book by Elie Wiesel called Night. I don't know whether any of you have read it. It's about the Holocaust. Elie Wiesel was a Holocaust survivor. There was an incredibly painful chapter that I cannot read, but because I didn't give this talk, I wanted to read it. I wanted to share it with you. It was a night where they all were forced to witness by the Nazis the hanging of a young child. He was hanged to death, and because his weight was so light, his death was a slow, painful death. And one man from behind got so angry, a Jewish guy, and shouted, "Where is God? Where is God now? Where is God?" You know? And one of the rabbis pointed at the dead child and said, "There is God. There is God." And it moved me deeply. Because to me, it was a symbol of the crucifixion. It's a symbol of God's death. So to me, in order to proclaim the world as dead and the soul as dead, is to make a judgment that I don't think it's right. I think anything that is dead can be alive again. And the only way that we can keep it alive is by our understanding of things and how to turn it around. You know, that's what I learned about the Jewish sense of suffering and the Jewish sense of God. They continue to do God's work in spite of the suffering, in spite of what's going on. Obviously, there's other sides of the Jewish consciousness that we won't talk about here, which are not very pleasant and not right. But talking about the original idea of the Jewish God, you know, the whole idea that things that are dead can be made alive again. How do we make that alive? How do we bring meaning? So in that sense, our sense of missionary and our sense of doing God's work has to change. It cannot be just from the point of what we used to. It's got to be at the point of what we know and how we share. You know, to look at the dead, something that's dead, and saying that God is there. You know, God is there. I mean, I've been to situations where I'm very uncomfortable. I remember I once went to this death metal gig. You know, and death metal is like the most extreme form of metal. And if you are judgmental, you can say, look at these people with tattoos and stuff. You know, they are jumping up and down. I'll tell you something, it's one of the most moving situations for me because when I go in, I see people coming together and they are hugging each other. And there's not a single fight in there. There's sometimes not even people drinking, you know, there's no drugs, they're just people there to enjoy music. Because for them, death metal represents a certain kind of truth to them that the other music cannot establish. You know? And as much as you want to make comments about tattoos and all that, but I think it's also important to understand where do tattoos come from. Like for example, rap music, right? If you do not know this and I'd like to share this with you, the origins of rap music are the Ghanaian griots. Because the Ghanaian griots used to not have paper to write. So what they did was that they recited the oral history so they remember their ancestors. You know, and there's still a whole nation of griots. So it's very natural for the black consciousness to incorporate rap into their culture because it's part of their whole vocal culture. Alright? So you see, once you find out all these different things, you realize that wow, somewhere here God is there. The next step here is how do we use the ingenuity to bring that out to the world, to bring that out to minister. Which is why we're here today. We share with you all that there are not many people in this field that are willing to take this challenge of understanding the culture and people and use it as an instrument to make a difference to people. Okay, it's 9:18 now. I think it's time now. According to Lawrence, maybe about 10 minutes of questions here. But thank you for listening, and I hope you guys got something out of this. So thank you very much. And thank you. Are there any questions you need to ask?
Hi, Kelvin.
Hey, hi.
Just ask education.
What's your name? Sorry.
Joe here.
Joe, hi. Joe. Wow.
Just
Okay.
ask an educational question.
Yeah.
You talk about just encouraging students to share who they are, where they are.
Yeah.
How do you give them assignments or encouragement?
Okay. Oh, very good question. Thanks, Joe. Are you a teacher or something? Oh, okay. Can I share with you something? I teach in a film school, and I'm in charge of a project called the Portfolio Project. And what students do in the 3 years there is a 3-year degree course, is that they're given assignments to do a 5-minute film, twice, 4 films throughout their life, their 2 years of life. So it comes on different themes. One is called autobiography. So it happens that the student needs to make a 5-minute film of themselves, but they have to be in the camera. Because they need to feel what's like to be in the camera. Even though you're shy, you got to do it. So that indirectly where I'm coming from, you know, you can see, right? As in, you could get them to do activities like this. Like for example, some of them get problems about being shy. So we ask them to write like a personal journal about themselves, about who they are, what they do, and things like that. And you'll be very surprised, they actually are very open about it. They want to share about it. And then from there, it becomes building blocks of creating their sense of confidence, and then able to create something like that. I don't know, does this answer your question? In a way, right? And also, for me, the other thing is this. I teach a course in photography in the film school, but we don't think in terms of technical stuff because I'm not a technical photographer. As you can tell, I have no PowerPoint slides here. Sometimes I think PowerPoint slides have no power, so there's no point. But you see, the thing is that you have to sort of like, what I do is that I get them to sort of like take photos. Like I say, okay, next week, everybody take a photo that best represents you. I find it very, very effective. They go out there and take a photo. Then you'll say, okay, this is a photo of a leaf, of a tree that I like. Because I was young, I used to go to this tree, and because my mother passed away or something like that, I used to go down there to seek solace. I didn't know about the person very well. This has happened to me many, many times. You find that you're willing to share, but you're afraid you don't understand. So because they're afraid you'll judge them, you don't understand them, and as a result, they don't share together. So for me, use these things as a tool, it's very effective. Is this helpful, Joe? Okay. Thank you very much. Anyone else?
Hi,
Yeah.
I'm Samantha.
What? Samantha, hi Sam. Can I go, Sam?
Okay,
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, so we're talking about how there shouldn't be segregation between sacred and secular. I'm just wondering, how do we keep what is relevant, reverent?
Wow. That should be a question for you. Okay, I guess good example is Lama, Kendrick. As you can tell, this is done in black language in this. But I think it's very powerful at the end when Lama talks about the whole idea of the Jehovah and higher power. So I guess this is a very difficult question to me because I guess, how do you make it reverent? How do you sort of like make it? How do you sort of reveal the reverend in a way, right, to make it there? And for me, like by sharing with you this work, what I'm doing is that it's like a channel. It's like I'm trying to tell you that there are things out there that actually, in a way, using God for His glory, but just that it's a different way from what we do. So that's actually a very complicated thing. So for me, it's hard for me to answer because it's very complex. I guess for me, what I do usually is I discuss it with my pastor. That's what I do. I discuss it with my church people. But at the same time, I don't believe also that it's the whole tough idea of the purity of your emotions, the purity of your intentions. That's what I feel. So to me, sometimes it's there, you do, then you don't. Right? You bring up, like for example, I was very nervous about sharing this with you guys because I was very afraid that you guys would not like the bad words here and there. But you must remember in the black culture, these are not bad words. This is what they talk about every day. It's like the Hokkien vernacular. Some of you Hokkiens, you know what I mean. Right? There's a lot of vulgarities in it, but that's how they talk. When they're cursing you, they don't mean to curse you. They don't mean to curse your mother or something like that. It's just a very affectionate way of saying something. So does that mean they hate content? No, you laugh because you know what I mean, right? So it's really like black Hokkien, if you think about it, right? So my point here is that maybe it's good to define it, and then at the same time extract to you, to people what you think is reverent. Does that make sense? Like for example, right now I'm telling you there's a lot of vulgarity. It's not how I talk, but I'm extracting from this rap poem what he's trying to say about God. And sometimes we are so, but like the Pharisees are so bugged by all these little things, we don't see the greater beauty of it. You're talking about somebody who sells millions of records every year. You're talking about somebody who's a media sensation, who's won Grammy Awards. And he's talking about Jesus, you know how rare it is? You see any Jesus in Beyonce? You see any Jesus in Kanye? Once in a while? Not like this. Not like Jehovah, higher power. That's what I mean. So to me, if we could just discard this, then we are wasting it, right? So I refuse. I am recycling it for God, you see. So I'm coming here and saying, no, you guys, you got to know this. You got to know this. Because to me, it is another way of looking at God that we are not accustomed to, and we need to reach out in that way. So I don't know, Samantha, the roundabout way without myself question or something like that. Keeping it reverent, pieces of reverent, and basically not throwing away the baby with the bathwater. You know, looking at the specific things and keeping the relevance. Anyone else? Yes, please. What's your name? Sorry.
Joseph.
Hey Joe. Can I call you Joe?
Yeah.
Hey Joe, Jimi Hendrix. Yeah.
I listen to you talk.
Yeah.
Personally, I'm a musical illiterate. Means I listen to music, I do not understand.
Yeah.
But having gone through a series of spiritual journey with God, I don't quite agree with what you say about certain music can be used. Because I personally was led by God to a Buddhist bookshop.
Okay.
So I got a spiritual journey in music. I went there, I listened, I got headache. Severe headache. But when I listen to the gospel music, I have peace.
Yeah.
But I'm a music veteran.
Yeah.
But every time I listen to heavy metal, I will get headache.
Yeah.
How do you explain this? If you enter music in use for the glory of God,
Okay.
why am I experiencing this?
Okay.
And this is a heavy conviction.
Okay.
Because every time I listen to a funeral procession
Yeah.
near my house, actually, they always play the Buddhist music. I always get headache. All the time. But when there's a Christian procession, they play Amazing Grace and all that, I feel very good. Peace. And how do you explain this? If what you say, you know, the words and all this, heavy metal can be used for the glory of God, then this is something different. So can you please explain?
Sure, of course. Thanks a lot. Thanks, Joe. I like this kind of questions, by the way, because they are hard. Basically, okay. Let me tell you that each art in ourselves. And the interesting thing about art for me is that it's very subjective. What does that mean? That means that what works for him doesn't work for him. You know, so it's subjectivity. Okay, luck is very subjective, and a lot of people think God is subjective, for example. But my pastor Chang Ming Shun said that that's not true, because God is objective in the evidence that we have with the way with the lives of faith that we live. Our personal journey with God is the objectivity of our love for God. Is, you know what I mean? Our personal journey. So my point, my not reply, but what I feel, this is my share, you don't agree with me, is this it's subjective for different people. Like for example, I can name you a couple of heavy metal Christian bands. In the 80s, there was this band called Striper, and they are a Christian band. And there are a lot of Christian bands now still playing metal stuff. In fact, there are also some of them playing death metal stuff. They are going into the wilderness of the metal scene, and they're trying to gain believers through that scene where very few Christians love them. So my point to you is just very simple. It may not work for you, but it may work for someone else. It's a very subjective thing. It's very, like for example, right now, when you teach art, right, there'll be bound to be one film. Okay, let's just talk about The Revenant, if you all have seen it. I think it's an amazing movie. My students hate it, I met. And you try to convince them, but they would not be convinced. They say, this is lousy, it's no story, it's plot. They say, no, this is a story, it's an existential. No, cannot, you know. It goes on forever. People will continue to love and hate one kind of music. So to me, one kind of music that soothes you. Maybe a music that some of us can connect well. Some of the music that you hate, when somebody might love, somebody might feel that it soothes them. So this is where I think I find it very hard to answer that in a sense, because it's a subjective thing. So this is why I get off the board by saying that but I know of friends who are very devout Christians who are very moved by metal music, and it makes a difference to them. It adds years to their life. So that's all I can say for now.
Another question is Hotel California.
Yep.
The lyrics are all satanic. How do you sing a song like that every day and they're Christian? Because as far as I know, the book has taught me that the music is a spiritual language to the soul. Whatever you feed the mind, it will affect the soul.
Sure. Yeah, I remember listening to Hotel California was in primary 5, and actually, have you read the interview with Glenn Frey and Lord Henley? It's very interesting. No? To them, a lot of times these musicians, when they write music, right, they have no idea why people start to create this kind of fuss. Like for example, actually for them, it was just about an awful experience they had in a hotel. You know, they went in there and they didn't like it, so they wrote a song about it, and they used all these so-called dark gothic ideas. But actually, the band itself, Glenn Frey just passed away this year, by the way, right? And the band themselves, they have no inclinations towards any satanic belief. You see. So that again to me, Joe, is kind of kind of subjective. It's kind of like how you. I remember when I was in secondary school, we used to say about backmasking and all that, Led Zeppelin and things like that. I remember that. I went through the whole thing, you know. But the thing is that, I don't know, am I satanic now? I'm not sure. You guys decide today, you know. I'm not sure because I personally still listen to that music, you know, because to me, yeah, let me tell you why I like Led Zeppelin. Jimmy Page's guitar, alright, Robert Plant's voice. But the other stuff of the satanic stuff, I just discard. Because I'm obviously, well, at least I think I'm not satanic. I just like the melodies and I like the guitar playing. So to me, it depends on, I guess, how, what your intentions are and your knowledge of the music is for me. For me, it depends on that. And the other thing I want to say also is this, is that a lot of times we are sort of like, we make judgments about things without finding out more about it. So that's why when you're telling me this, I'm telling you all these things that these people are just innocent people making a good song. They use this as images, and just happens that people tend to look at it in a different way, look at it as something called satanic. But for me, I refuse to go that way simply because I think there's a lot that I can learn from their culture, there's a lot that I can learn from them without using their values in my life, without using the values of drugs, using the values of all this stuff in my life. So I choose to look at what's good about this music and incorporate it in my life so that I can do things like share with you all today. Thank you. Joe. Hey, hi, sir. What's your name? Sorry. Oh, yeah.
Yes. My name is Philip.
Philip, hi.
And I have the privilege of living in Singapore and observing.
Yeah.
Thank you for your very good answer to that last question.
Thank you.
I think it highlights an issue that is of concern to many of us. We ask ourselves, where is the power in society? Who has the power? Who has the voice? You know, it's so often it's older people. And you talked about generational issues and how complex our world is becoming. And as older people, we often want to control. But the younger people want to experience life the same way we experience life, a generation or two ahead of them. But the power in society is wanting to control them. I think you talked about that.
Yes, I did.
And sadly, I think this is happening in the church as well, in many cases. All the people are controlling and have good motives, wanting to serve the Lord. And the younger people are saying, but what about us? How can we bridge the generation gap so that we can truly love and appreciate one another in all our diversity over generations?
You say it for me, man.
Yeah.
You say it for me, brother. I got nothing to add to that. Thanks very much for that. You all know what he said, right? So to me, no, I mean, I come from Kapong Methodist Church, you know, and I've been there for like 10 over years. But I've been a Methodist all my life, and I see that. I see the youth now, as in, parents are telling them what to listen and what to do, and after a while, they leave church. They leave church for good because they tell themselves what's the point, and then the sermons aren't very inspiring. I've often talked to Lawrence a lot about this, but that's another story for another day. Some of them are his friends. But the thing is that, Philip, thank you so much for this. I appreciate it because this is exactly what I'm trying to say. That this understanding is missing. Are you from Australia? I remember Johnny Cash. That's one of my favorite country singers. I know anybody know Johnny Cash. Okay, and he's a devout Christian. And he said about how back in the days his mother used to hate him for playing all this loud music. And he says it's very strange that now as parents, once you become older, you start to stop your children from listening to that kind of music. Back in the days when you're growing up, the Beatles were great. Your mother said, what's this lousy music? Listen to your Matt Monroe or something, right? And then later on, you prevent your children from listening to Rage Against the Machine, in the 90s. So there's this dumbing down, right? There's this dumbing down, and I think it's connected to the whole of society, whole Singapore society too. How do we say that, look, that one end the government wants the children to be creative and open to ideas. How are you going to do that if you keep dumbing them down, right? The ideas are everywhere. Every day I go to LaSalle, it's so exciting. Every day there's new ideas, whether it's media, music, or film, or clothes, things like every day the new ideas, design, things like that. And I feel that is a beautiful college where people can come. But unfortunately, you can't say that for a lot of institutions. That get cut down. You know, recently CNBC had this poll, and you all read it. They listed the 5 most useless degrees. Top was fine arts. And then they listed film arts and all that, which I thought was very sad. It's like, what are prospects anyway? You know, we were in arts, remember? And back then it was like a dumping ground. No one wanted to go to arts, right? I mean, in the 1980s, right? 1980s, right? And then when we came out, everybody wanted arts. Suddenly all our friends, classmates are all millionaires now. Except us, of course. They're all millionaires. You know, you can try to say that. It's like we tend to listen to what the world says to us more than what God says to us. What's God saying to us all those things. And I feel that that's why I feel that there needs to be some kind of, well, I would say shake up, but a different kind of revival in church, you know. Not the usual kind of fire and sword, but a revival of new ideas. Yeah. So thanks very much, Philip. I really appreciate this because this really adds more layers to what I'm trying to say here. Anyone else? Sorry, we're over time now. Anyone else? Okay. So thank you very much, everybody. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Kelvin. I think one of the things that Samantha was asking about, how do we keep what is relevant, reverent? I think it's something that we will have to really think deeply. As the Bible says, and the Lord says Himself, we will know the tree by its fruits. Right? So I think that's, personally speaking of Kelvin, he exemplifies somebody who is devoted to his music, devoted to his passion in search of aesthetics. I call him the philosopher of arts. He thinks deeply. He's not just engaging in creative art, but he thinks about, as we've heard, the different disciplines and how they can be integrated. And life itself is very integrative, so we need to exemplify that. But you can see that the roots of that passion for arts is faith in Christ. Right? So how is that exemplified? Through the fruits. Right? So I think it's a very inspiring for all of us to think about how we should live our lives, right? So that what we do really points people to God and to Christ, to have that passion, right? To see the passion. Ferdinand Eber was the one who sees that God is in every moment. So when we are able to commune with God in every moment can be communion, right? So that's how we can keep that. So we, the press, also remember Kelvin, initially I didn't want to say all that, I want you to listen for yourself who he is. The press loves him, right? Even though he is not one of those wealthy musicians, I'm sure he's wealthy in the kingdom of God. The press calls him the Bob Dylan of Singapore. Right? So if you understand what that means he loves Singapore and he writes songs about life in Singapore. And we need more of that. Local artists, people who can give voice. Phil asked who's going to speak, who's going to give the voice. We need artists and they give the voice, right, to the city, to the people who live in the city, especially in Singapore. So we pray that even as we encourage our children to pursue the arts, I have 2 daughters both in the arts. One is learning voice, the other one learning dance. And I wonder, these are things that you probably can't get returns on investment. But our prayer is that we need people who will stand in the gap. And that's going to be a SCGM song, by the way. Thank you. We adopt that as our theme song. And so really thank God for people like Kelvin, and we pray that more will arise from within our church. We encourage and we invest in the young people in the arts. We pray that we will also unleash them so that they can go into the arts and media and stand in the gap, right, and embody the faith in all these little different worlds. Right? I think one of my favorite writers, Dostoevsky himself, reminds me that we are all imperfect people, but God can use us to become voice for His truth. So we are thankful this morning that we can hear from Kelvin. We want to encourage him. He is very prolific. He has over 130 CDs, right, to his name. So he works very hard in his music, in his writing. He is a poet. He defies definition. So this morning we want to thank Canon Louis Tay, who is the Associate Vicar of St. Andrew's Cathedral, who is also one of our sponsors for our breakfast, along with Salem Chapel, to do us the honor of presenting a little gift. There's a book, Scattered and Gathered, about urban migrants, right? So he talks about the roots of Africans, right? rap and all that, people who are away from home. So we pray that this will also encourage you.
Thank you.
Time is up. I'll just make a quick, short announcement. Okay, you see on your chair, we have two posters, right? One is the annual lecture. You're welcome to join us for this SCGM annual lecture. We have it once a year in conjunction with our AGM. You can come earlier at 6 o'clock at the Trinity Christian Center for AGM. And then at 7:30 would be our annual lecture. It's we're very privileged to invite Reverend Dr. Kelvin Tan, who was formerly the Dean of School of Theology at Azusa Pacific University in California, LA, as well as the president of the Wesleyan Holiness Society. So he promotes the idea of the spiritual movement of holiness. Right? This is something that we talk a lot about, especially Protestant. We are very much interested in piety, right? Reverence. We want to do our quiet time, read the Bible, go to church, give our tithes, do some ministry, and we think that we are good Christians. Right? But the challenge is that we actually are called to do more. It's not just about individual holiness. That's very important, how we walk and relate to God. But we also need to think about what we do as a community, as a church. How do we become a community of faith in the larger world, the larger society, which is what we are also talking about this morning. So how do we, as a group, exemplify that social holiness that will impact and transform the world? Right? So come and listen to this and hope that we can recover, because all these are our Protestant roots. Right? Next year we celebrate 500 years of Reformation. Right? So where are we after 500 years? Have we gone back to being Pharisee, or have we gone back to become just another church? By the way, there's an, the Oscar, talking about media, right? The Oscar Best Picture was this year. Anyone knows? Spotlight, right? Kelvin was the one who went to me the Spotlight I went to watch. Spotlight is all about the church, how priests abuse children. Right? So it's very sad when I watch that. My prayer is that God help them to be holy. Because we who are servants of God really need to be a good model and representative in order to stand in the gap. But a lot of time in our weakness, we fall, and we cause so much damage to the name of God, to the church. Right? So all these are important for us. So how do we continue to develop holiness in the church as well? So come and join us at the annual lecture. The other poster is about church mission strategy consultation. We want to invite especially the church missions committee. Do you have those in your church? Right, the church missions committee or church mission board, as well as mission agency leaders, and more importantly, pastors. Right? I always like to dig at my pastors' friends and say that one of the most unreached people group in missions is the pastors. Because they seldom spend time thinking and talking about missions, right? I like Canon Louis T. Even in his Holy Communion, he's always injecting missions into his prayer. I appreciate that. And this is a consultation for church committee members to help us to think outside the box, because the world of missions is so broad and ever expanding. We need effective, relevant strategies to engage the world today. Right? So no longer just adopt unreached people group as what we were doing 20 years ago, which is important. But now, as this book, The Companion on the Global Diaspora, shows us that the unreached people group is no longer that effective or strategic category, because it has been changed, right? In this borderless world, they are all here. All the unreached people groups are in the cities. They are all everywhere now. So how do we develop strategies that will reach people from everywhere to everywhere, right? From everyone to everyone. So invite your church leaders to come and join us, and we consult together what are some of the effective ways, and this will really unleash the church, right? Where God has placed them, whether in music, in government, in business, in every field. How can we really get them to be involved in God's mission? Right? And that's, by the way, the Lausanne tagline, right? For many years, 40 over years, right? The whole church bring the gospel to the whole world, right? So we need to remember that. So we thank God for that. Sorry.
The whole gospel.
The whole gospel. Okay. To close us in prayer, can I invite Dr. Kelvin Chong to come and word us in prayer?
Yeah, I still pray.
Father, we are grateful to you for your presence, Father. And every day we receive your gift of life and of the joy of being able to live for you, Lord. Today we thank you, Father, for everything that we've heard, the discussion, the thoughts that have been articulated. And Father, we are grateful that amongst this group of people, your people, there are passions and there are concerns, Father. And I ask, Father, that God, you will use each one of us in our different stations and our different positions in life to make a difference for the kingdom. This is our heart's prayer to you, in Jesus' name.
Amen.
Amen.
So thank you for coming again. To come next month, May, we will be inviting Robert Key to talk about are you a faith entrepreneur, right? About missional business. Bring your businessmen friends to come as well.